Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth video of my TRND Bot review series. In this video, I'm going to cover the data and results from testing TRND Bot over the third week of October, the 19th to the 23rd. As I explained in my last video, I am now a TRND affiliate. I accepted TRND's offer to be an affiliate only after getting consistently good results in my study. TRND does not see these videos ahead of time, and my review and opinions are still entirely my own and based solely on the data I collect. If you subscribe to TRND using my affiliate link in the description, I will receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. Like always, this video is for educational purposes only. This video is going to be structured similarly to the previous video, so I won't be repeating any analysis you've already heard. If at any point you need clarification on the strategy I'm using or the scope of the study, check out my introduction video linked in the description. Here's what the S&P 500 looked like over the course of the third week on a 30-minute time frame. The first thing that stands out is the SPY is in a pretty big range between about 342 to 346. However, instead of just trending flat or sideways in this range, it actually trended a lot. You'll notice that for nearly every downtrend, there's a nice equal uptrend that follows it. To me, these trends stand out as particularly clean, healthy, and most significantly, extreme. Due to how consistent the trends are and how far each trend moved before reversing, I would expect TRND Bot performed particularly well on the SPY this week. Over the 5 trading days, TRND Bot signaled a total of 17 trades on the S&P 500, an average of 3.4 trades a day. This is far fewer than the previous week's average of 8 signals a day. This enormous decrease in trade signals is probably due to how long the trends lasted on the SPY this week. Here's the distribution of signals over the 5 days. There were only 2 signals on the 19th and 23rd, which makes sense because they had by far the clearest trends. The 20th, 21st, and 22nd had less clearly defined trends, so it also makes sense that there would be more signals on those days. Of the 17 trade signals, 2 trades resulted in loss and 15 trades resulted in profit, an 88% win rate overall, the highest we've seen yet. Needless to say, I'm blown away by the jump from last week to this week's win rate. TRND Bot's win rate on the SPY has been hovering around 50% for the last 2 weeks, so this was certainly unexpected. But it also makes sense because of the length and clarity of the trends this week. It seems like the more clear the trends and the further they move, the more likely it is profit target 1 or greater will be hit. The outcome of these signals were 76% hit profit target 1 or better, 18% were closed for either profit or loss due to a signal change, 6% were closed at the end of the day for either profit or loss, and like last week, 0% hit their stop loss. For the third week in a row, no trades have hit their stop loss. My suspicion for why TRND Bots had such a high win rate this week is confirmed when you look at how often TRND Bot signals were closed due to a signal change this week compared to the previous week. Last week, 57% of signals were closed due to a signal change, and this week only 18% were. This suggests that the SPY's moves this week were easier for TRND Bot to identify, and there were fewer fakeouts, so I hit my profit target 1 or higher more often. This week, the average loss was $191. The average profit of the profit target 1 strategy was $232, and the average profit of the 50-50 strategy was $287. This is the first week where the average loss was significantly more than half of the expected loss at the stop loss, but of course it was still well below 250. The large average loss was likely due to a small data set of just 2 losing trades, but I would also expect the losses to be larger since the SPY is moving so strongly up and down. Comparatively, the average loss of this week increased 40%, whereas the average profit of the profit target 1 strategy only increased 8%, and the average profit of the 50-50 strategy only increased 14%. The disproportional increase in average loss compared to average profit is not concerning given the incredibly high win rate. The actualized reward to risk ratios were 1.21 to 1 for the profit target 1 strategy and 1.51 to 1 for the 50-50 strategy. These are obviously significantly lower than last week because, like I explained before, the 2 losses this week were pretty big. But with a win rate of 88%, even a reward to risk ratio of 1 to 1 is totally fine. It's becoming clear that the main challenge for TRND Bot is definitely going to be consistency. The final overall win rate of TRND Bot is going to be lower than 88%, so the overall average win rate and reward to risk ratios are going to mean a lot more than these weekly average win rates and ratios do. The data by time of day tells an extreme yet somewhat similar story to last week. Last week, the winning trades spiked in the first hour, held consistent for most of the day, and then the win rate plummeted at the end of the day. Generally speaking, this is about what we saw this week, just to a more extreme degree, where the only losing trades occurred at the end of the day, and there were so many winning trades. Both this week and last week had very similar win rates for the first 3 hours. Last week it was about 60%, and this week it was 100%. There was also a notable decrease in win rate for both weeks between 12:30 to 1:30. However, last week 12:30 to 1:30 was the lowest win rate hour, but this week the lowest win rate was from 2:30 to 3:30. Last week this was the highest win rate hour. Since there were so few trades this week, the win rate by time of day data is not as statistically significant as it has been other weeks. Now for the total profit for the third week of October trading the SPY. If you risked $250 at the stop loss using TRND Bot, you would have profited $3,101 using the profit target 1 strategy and a whopping $3,917 using the 50-50 strategy. Both strategies profited about 1.5 times the previous week's profit, despite there being only about half as many signals. This suggests that trend strength and trend consistency are far more important to trend success than the sheer numbers of signals it gives. Don't interpret this as meaning fewer signals is automatically better though, because TRND Bot could have just as easily signaled the same amount of trades while the SPY was moving flat, yielding far worse results. The takeaway here seems to be stronger, longer trends is better for TRND Bot. Here's a graph of the week's running P&L. The graph starts with a weekly profit of 0 and begins on the 19th, the first day of the third week. You can then see how the P&L changed over the course of this week. The 19th had the smallest returns, followed by the 23rd, which makes sense because they had the fewest signals and thus the least opportunity to profit. The most profitable day was the 20th, where the profit target 1 strategy made $995 and the 50-50 strategy made $1,368, nearly a third of the total week's profit. As you can see, not a single individual day this week lost money, as each day was profitable. I'm very excited to see what the total P&L for the whole month looks like at the end of this series. That concludes the SPY data and analysis for week 3, so now on to Tesla. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please like the video and subscribe to my channel to follow along with the upcoming final videos in this series. Here's what Tesla looks like over the course of the third week on a 30-minute time frame. What immediately stood out to me was that there weren't too many notable trends, and that most trends that did occur were pretty short with the exception of the 23rd. I'm not expecting nearly the same performance from TRND Bot on Tesla as it had on the SPY this week. Over the 5 trading days, TRND Bot signaled a total of 25 trades on Tesla, an average of 5 trades a day, which is similar to the second week's average of 6.4 trades a day. Here's the distribution of signals over the 5 days. Unsurprisingly, the majority of signals occurred on the choppiest days, the 19th and the 22nd. The 20th, 22nd, and 23rd all looked similar in terms of price action, so it's expected that they each had about the same amount of signals. I am surprised, however, by just how disproportionately many signals TRND Bot gave on the 19th compared to the other days. When looking at the price action on the 30-minute time frame, the 19th doesn't stand out as too different than the 22nd. But on a smaller time frame, you'd see a tighter price range on the 19th, resulting in more signals. Of the 25 trade signals, 13 trades resulted in loss and 12 trades resulted in profit, a 48% win rate overall, the worst we've seen yet on Tesla. Personally, I'm not too surprised by the win rate being much lower this week, as it was bound to happen eventually, and this week wasn't very smooth at all. Tesla is notorious for both incredible moves and incredible inactivity, so I'm glad we experienced both over the month of October. It's easy to forget the importance of a proper profit-taking strategy when your signals are yielding 60+% accuracy. But on weeks like these where you don't have that kind of accuracy, that's where the profit-taking strategy really takes effect. We know that both strategies have yielded profit even when TRND Bot had a below 50% win rate on the SPY, so let's see if the same applies to Tesla. The outcome of the Tesla signals were 36% hit profit target 1 or better, 64% were closed for either profit or loss due to a signal change, 0% were closed at the end of the day, and like the last 2 weeks, 0% hit their stop loss. Compared to previous weeks, this is far fewer signals hitting profit target 1 or better, and far more signals being closed due to a signal change. This week, the average loss was $128, the average profit of the profit target 1 strategy was $195, and the average profit of the 50-50 strategy was $253. Like previous weeks, the average loss is about half of the expected loss at the stop loss, which makes sense considering so many trades are closed due to a signal change and that no trades have stopped out yet. The average profit of the 50-50 strategy was significantly higher than last week's by $38, and I suspect this large difference is due to Tesla's few trends being quite strong enough to hit profit target 2 or higher. The actualized reward to risk ratios were 1.52 to 1 for the profit target 1 strategy and 1.98 to 1 for the 50-50 strategy. Unsurprisingly, the profit target 1 strategy reward to risk ratio was almost identical to last week's. However, the 50-50 strategy's reward to risk ratio was essentially the coveted 2 to 1 ratio. Very good for such a low action week. When looking at the win rate, the 11:30 to 12:30 and 2:30 to 3:30 time periods really stand out. Both these times had barely any data, so the results should be taken lightly. But it is interesting to note how the 100% win rate at the final hour of the day this week perfectly agrees with the 100% win rate at the same time last week. The rest of the data is also similar to last week, except for the 11:30 to 12:30 hour. Interestingly, Tesla had a 100% win rate at the same time last week. I suspect that the week's specific price action will end up mattering a lot more than the time of day in general. Now, for the total profit for the third week of October trading Tesla. By risking $250 at the stop loss using TRND Bot, you would have profited $675 using the profit target 1 strategy and $1,369 using the 50-50 strategy. This, of course, is a significant decrease in profit from previous weeks. This makes sense though, considering how low activity Tesla was this week, the decreased number of signals, how often trades were closed due to a signal change, and the substantially decreased win rate. Most importantly, we were still profitable on both strategies even though our win rate was less than 50%, thanks to never stopping out and using a proper profit-taking strategy. For the profit target 1 strategy, this is a 77% decrease in profits from last week, and for the 50-50 strategy, it's a 60% decrease. Here's a graph of the week's running P&L. Immediately, you'll notice how inconsistent the profit is this week compared to previous weeks. I'm incredibly surprised that the 19th, the day with the clearest single trend, was the only day that lost money. Given the extreme single direction move on the 19th, I'd expect the fewest signals and a small profit, but I got the exact opposite of that. This could be because neither of my profit-taking strategies capitalize on profiting from moves beyond profit target 2. This could be remedied by possibly using a trailing stop method instead of my current methods. The next day, the 20th, was by far the best day for both strategies this week, profiting about 2 times more than any other green day. All in all, not the most profit we've seen, but still another solid green week for TRND Bot. That concludes the third week of testing TRND Bot. I hope you find the series informative, helpful, and if you have any questions about TRND Bot's performance so far, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.